I'm a firm believer in the people. If given the truth, they can be depended upon to meet any national crisis. The great point is to bring them the real facts and bear. I'm Lanre Lasese, and with this quote from Abraham Lincoln, I welcome you to the gavel. Nigeria is at a critical point in our history where the nation is being confronted by a major security crisis in the form of terrorism and insurgency. The abduction of the Chibok girls by Boko Haram is still a major issue, coupled with insecurity in the northern part of the country. President Goodluck Jonathan during the week sent a request to the National Assembly for an extension of emergency rule in 3 northeastern states which have been bearing the brunt of terrorism and insurgency. So how did the lawmakers react to the letter? Watch. One major issue dominated deliberations at the National Assembly during the week: the state of emergency in Yobe, Borno and Adamawa states. President Goodluck Jonathan sent a letter to both houses of the National Assembly asking for the extension of emergency rule in the 3 states for another 6 months. In a letter addressed to the Senate President and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, President Jonathan said while substantial progress has been made to contain insecurity and restore normalcy to the 3 affected states, the security situation that necessitated the proclamation of the state of emergency was yet to abate. This is the second time President Jonathan is seeking an extension of emergency rule in the 3 states. President Jonathan first proclaimed the state of emergency on May the 14th, 2013. The emergency rule in the 3 states was later extended in November 2013 for another 6 months, but this recent request for an extension was not immediately granted by the National Assembly. The Senate stood down the debate on the emergency rule, insisting that they would have to meet with the security chiefs to assess the impact of the emergency rule that had been in place.
Being the tradition of this Senate, that before debates, we appraise and assess the performance of the state of emergency before we debate. So I will move that this distinguished Senate do invite the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Air Staff, the Chief of Naval Staff, the Inspector General of Police, and the Director General of the State Security Services to brief this distinguished Senate at 10 a.m. tomorrow in a closed session to enable us commence the debate on the President's request.
But even before the meeting with the service chiefs, the caucus of northern lawmakers made their position clear that they would not be voting in support of an extension of emergency rule.
The Constitution requires 2/3 majority in terms of voting. And of course, there must be voting. If we can be outwitted in the voting, fine. But as far as we are concerned, our position is that we are going to vote against it. And of course, this, technically speaking, read the Constitution 305 of Section 6, require the requirement in which how state of emergency should emerge. And I feel our own position is that we are saying no. I'm telling you, we are coming out with, we are addressing the issue. And I believe by the time we come with it, we have set up a committee, and the committee, they are coming with a very powerful resolution, which we hope to convince the government that this is the way out. And I believe you, we are not saying no to the military. They are doing fine. They have done well. We give them all the quotas and encouragement, and we'll encourage them more to do it.
When they brought for renewal, we didn't argue. We said, well, we hope for the better, therefore let's renew it and see what happens. But from the time of the renewal, you'll see that there are more attacks than there were even at the beginning when there was no emergency. You'll see that there are more deaths. You see that there are more cases of insecurity. So what is happening? Nobody has come to brief us to say this is what the challenges that we have, this is what we achieved. Nobody. Things are just getting worse and worse and worse day by day. So what is the point? If it is not working, what is the point of renewing it?
The Senate did in fact meet behind closed doors with the service chiefs and would be voting on the extension of emergency rule next week. Meanwhile, in the House of Representatives, the debate on the extension was intense. The lawmakers said the decision over an extension of emergency rule would be tough, as the arguments against it are strong despite the many voices in its favor. The argument in favor of the extension was that it would send wrong signals if the state of emergency is lifted now that strong support has been offered by the international community to tackle the insurgency in the area.
People have come into support to fight this insurgency. And at this particular moment, if we say we are not going to extend this emergency, what signals are we sending to those people that are coming in to assist us in fighting this insurgency?
While we welcome the support of foreign countries, we must know that one day they will leave this country. Therefore, we are not going to rely on their equipment and their intelligence. We must support, we must equip, we must educate, we must upgrade what we have in the system in order to combat what is facing us as a nation today. Mr. Speaker, no matter how well we equip our security agencies, if the citizens are not ready to cooperate with them, we will still have a long way to go. A situation where people are not conscious, people are not vigilant, people are not mindful of their environment, Mr. Speaker, it calls for worry. I want to advise that wherever we are today, whether you're in the church, whether you're in the market, whether you're at home, whether you're in a party place, you must be vigilant. You must secure your environment.
However, most lawmakers from Borno and Yobe states rejected the request, saying the state of emergency has not achieved its purpose as the massacre and destruction there have continued unabated.
Gambarungala, just recently, 300 people lives lost under the state of emergency. Bama barrack destroyed and killed almost 200 people in Bama under the state of emergency. Dambua killed almost 20 under the state of emergency. Isge, almost 200 people was killed under the state of emergency. Madagali killed almost 50 lives under the state of emergency. What are they doing? What are their importance? What are they achieving?
This is the third one. One would expect that at these stages of progress, at least every month, members of the security should come and inform, brief the House and tell us their problems. But it's only at the end of 6 months that another 6 months will be demanded. For how long are we going to do this? What guarantee have we that if we extend these 6 months, there will not be any difference? The Nigerian border across this place, these three areas, are so porous that even the military and the armed forces of this country cannot. What happened to the Chibok girls? Now they are saying they are in Central African Republic. How did they get there? When and why? Were we not able to find out or to stop our borders being crossed with our own daughters?
With or without a state of emergency, the president already has the power, not by any anti-terrorism law, but by the Constitution, to actually deploy and determine operational use of the armed forces. Which brings me to the question of what exactly is a state of emergency, if that is not enough for the president?